Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel where we keep you up to date on the latest tech news and trends. In today's video, we have some exciting news to share. Starlink, the satellite-based internet provider operated by SpaceX, is now available in the Philippines. This means that people in even the most rural and remote areas of the country can now access high-speed internet, which is a game changer for many Filipinos. So let's dive into what Starlink is, how it works, and what this means for the future of internet access in the Philippines. Why the Philippines? Does the country have an internet problem? You know what? Let's talk about the internet situation in the Philippines. Nowadays, having a stable internet connection is a must for many people, but unfortunately, the internet in the Philippines is not very reliable. While it's not as bad as dial-up internet from the early 2000s, the download and upload speeds in the country are still far behind other Southeast Asian countries. In fact, the Philippines ranks around 100th place globally for fixed broadband, with an average download speed of 32.37 Mbps. Meanwhile, Thailand and Singapore rank in the top 3 with speeds of 220 Mbps and 247 Mbps, respectively. But here's the thing. The cost of fixed broadband plans in the Philippines is about the same as in Thailand and Singapore, even though the quality is far behind. It's no wonder that a 2020 Digital Quality of Life Index ranked the Philippines 82nd out of 85 countries in terms of internet affordability. This is especially frustrating for Filipinos, who are known to be some of the most active social media users in the world. So what's causing the poor internet service in the Philippines? Well, one of the main reasons is the lack of competition in the industry. Currently, 2 companies, Globe Telecom and Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company (PLDT), basically run the telecommunications scene. They are smaller players, but they only offer fixed broadband plans and not mobile internet. Since competition is limited, these companies have little incentive to improve their infrastructure and services. Unfortunately, this lack of competition can be traced back to an old law that required telecommunications operators to build 400,000 telephone lines. This made it so that only the cash-rich conglomerates could meet the guidelines, and new players are disincentivized to enter the market. Additionally, public utilities must be owned, operated, and controlled by Filipino citizens or corporations that are at least 60% Filipino-owned, making it difficult for foreign players to enter the market. Moreover, the internet is considered a value-added service, which means suppliers are free to provide the service on their own terms. It would have to be identified as a basic service for the government to regulate it. This regulatory landscape makes it difficult for internet service providers to put up the necessary infrastructure, and a single cell site can take as much as 8 months to build due to the need to secure government permits. Globe Telecom argued that the problem with the Philippines' internet speed should not just be blamed on the telcos, as they have been hampered by the notorious bureaucratic red tape imposed by local government units, particularly when it comes to permitting issues. Before 2020, it took 29 to 35 permits to build one cell tower, including a barangay village permit, neighbor's consent, radiation evaluation, mayor's permit, occupancy permit, and more. Unfortunately, this creates a disparity between those who have internet access and those who don't, especially in rural areas. Many Filipino children are climbing mountains to get an internet signal just so they can attend class or submit assignments. And because connectivity isn't cheap, many families are making sacrifices to accommodate the new normal. Why Starlink? Have you heard about Starlink? It's a pretty cool internet service provider that uses a network of artificial satellites to bring internet to users all over the world. Starlink is actually a division within SpaceX, and they've been sending up these small satellites since 2019. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, aren't there other satellite internet providers out there? And you'd be right. Companies like Viasat, Amazon, OneWeb, and HughesNet have been doing it for a while. But what sets Starlink apart is its use of thousands of small satellites instead of just a few large ones. This approach might not be as cost-effective, but because Starlink is part of SpaceX, an aerospace company, they're able to make it work. And instead of relying on cable technology like fiber optics, Starlink uses low-orbiting satellites and radio signals to transmit internet data to users. Starlink, which is owned by SpaceX, is planning to cover the whole of the Philippines with their satellite-based internet service by mid-2023. And guess what? They're getting ready for their commercial launch by the end of this year. According to Ivan John Uy, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Starlink is expected to provide full 100% coverage for the Philippines by the middle of next year. That's amazing. Starlink aims to serve remote villages and rural areas that have little to no internet access. The company is working with the DICT to provide a complementary service for those already served by other telcos. And that's not all. Starlink is also gaining traction on the wholesale side. The satellite service is set to be deployed across the Royal Caribbean's full fleet by the end of first quarter of 2023, providing high-speed internet on board for passengers after successful trials. And guess what else? Elon Musk's parent company SpaceX has partnered with U.S. operator T-Mobile to provide mobile connectivity from space, with speeds of around 2 to 4 Mbps. A new network will be created that will broadcast from Starlink's next-generation satellites, while using T-Mobile's mid-band spectrum nationwide, with SpaceX aiming to eliminate dead zones across the country. And for those in the Philippines, the good news is that Starlink is now live in the country. You can go to their website to check the availability of the satellite internet service in your area. And if you're from Ortigas, Pasig area, you'll be asked to pay PHP 2,700 a month for service and PHP 29,320 for hardware. What differences would this make? One of the main benefits of Starlink is its high-speed internet connectivity, which can offer speeds of up to 100 Mbps. This is significantly faster than the average fixed broadband speed in the Philippines, which is around 32.37 Mbps. With Starlink's faster internet speeds, people in the Philippines would be able to work more efficiently, access online education, and engage in more online activities without experiencing frustratingly slow internet speeds. Additionally, Starlink's satellite-based infrastructure can potentially solve the problem of Philippines' limited telecommunications infrastructure. The country's island geography and mountainous terrain can make it challenging to lay down traditional cable-based infrastructure, which is the main reason why many areas in the Philippines still don't have access to high-speed internet. However, since Starlink relies on satellites, it can reach even remote and underserved areas with minimal infrastructure. This could significantly increase internet access across the country, bridging the digital divide between urban and rural areas. Furthermore, Starlink's global coverage could also benefit the Philippines by providing internet access to areas that are frequently hit by natural disasters. The Philippines is prone to typhoons, earthquakes, and other natural calamities that can damage telecommunications infrastructure, leaving communities disconnected. With Starlink, emergency responders and affected communities can quickly regain internet access, helping them stay connected and informed during times of crisis. Which other countries is Starlink coming to? So Starlink by SpaceX is a pretty cool product that's taken the world by storm. Did you know that it's already available in several countries across the globe? The first continent to receive Starlink was North America, and the United States was the first country to connect with the product. Over in Europe, the United Kingdom was the first to receive it in January 2021, and in Oceania, New Zealand was the lucky first country. Moving on to South America, Chile was the first to receive Starlink, and in Asia, Iran was the first to enjoy Starlink's amazing internet connection in September 2022. Now Starlink has finally made its way to the African continent, with Nigeria being the first country to receive it as of January 30th, 2023. But did you know that Nigeria wasn't the only African country that got the green light for Starlink on that same day? The SpaceX founder Elon Musk hinted that Mozambique, a southern African country, also received approval for Starlink on the same day. Starlink has already applied for regulatory approval to operate in several countries, including Mexico, India, and the Philippines, among others. The company is also working on obtaining licenses to operate in other countries, such as Brazil, Chile, and Colombia, among others. The timeline for Starlink's expansion to these countries is not yet clear and will depend on regulatory approval and other factors. When will Starlink cover the whole planet? Starlink is getting closer and closer to being available worldwide with minimal interference by 2023. The current coverage is mainly in the United States and Canada, but Starlink's mission is to provide service in all areas, including millions of rural communities worldwide. The goal is to have coverage worldwide by 2023, but there are some hurdles to overcome, such as regulatory approval in countries like Russia and China. The good news is that Starlink sent up its first satellites in 2019, and more are being launched more and more often. According to the Starlink map, coverage is planned to go worldwide by 2023. Starlink has already approved 12,000 satellites with plans to seek approval for another 30,000 to improve and expand services. On July 22, 2022, Starlink sent a team of 53 satellites to strengthen the connection and ability of the overall system. The continuation of improvements will make it possible to stay ahead of the competition satellites planned by Amazon. In addition, Starlink is even being made available on boats, increasing accessibility even more. More satellites are planned to be launched on Falcon 9 on August 18, 2022, leading to more updates and a wider area of accessibility. By reusing boosters and other materials, SpaceX can make multiple launches as needed without draining precious resources. Worldwide access might be coming in 2023, and it will change the world by providing unmatched internet access to millions. Starlink's expansion to the Philippines is definitely exciting news for Filipinos who have been struggling with slow and unreliable internet connections. With the potential to reach even remote areas of the country, Starlink's satellite-based internet service has the potential to bridge the digital divide and empower more people to access the benefits of the digital world. Although it may take some time before the service is widely available and accessible, the prospects of improved internet speeds and connectivity in the Philippines is definitely worth looking forward to. We can't wait to see how Starlink services will shape the country's digital landscape in the coming years.